It's the official third installment of the EMG Inside Zone podcast. Really appreciate y'all and all the feedback I've been getting on it, man. You guys have been really feeling the podcast here. Just before we dive into any of the extra stuff we're gonna dive into on this here, I just want to kind of address, us making sure we get some games in, man. That's what the league is about. You know what I'm saying? Getting these games played, getting them in. And the main thing here is that we, continue to maintain the level of activity that EMG is used to having. So, last week was not a very good week for us. It wasn't really the best, shining example of what we can be as a league, man, because we had a few unplayed games. Guys who, the one guy whose season's over, another guy who, was like 6 or 7-1. We gotta, do a better job of getting these games in. A game right here unplayed. So overall we only had 3 unplayed, but we used to not have any unplayed. So if you need an AP, you need whatever you need, make sure you reach out to us, man, and we can get that done so you can get these games in and we don't have to worry about the computer picking who wins and who loses, So, with that said, let's get into some of the good stuff here, man. You know what I'm saying? Said I was gonna do a preview or just a review of the Steelers season. He had asked to touch on his season, recognize the owner of it, Rodney Ponderfleet. You gotta excuse me if I said your name incorrectly, bro. But just reviewing their season and seeing what these guys had done throughout the year so far. So let's just take a look at them real quick. All right, so just starting off the season, he kind of starts with with Scott here, and he kind of put a beating on him real early. Scott Schroeder, the Redskins owner, he walked away with a 33-18 win. Pretty even game offensively as far as yardage game, but as you can see, a lot more balance than him. Allowed only 29 rush yards, and a pretty good amount of passing yards there, but still, he was able to keep his balance and end up coming away with the win. Third down conversions, red zone offense was better, came away with TDs rather than field goals and really controlled the clock. For obvious reasons, Big Ben stands out, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Le'Veon Bell just being Le'Veon Bell, 20 rushes, 157 yards and a touchdown. This ridiculous receiving core he got. They really didn't get off like talking about, but they did what they needed to do. Got some touchdowns. They were able to get in the end zone. But just a lot of positive things happened for him in that game. Defensively, standouts wise, he only had, Scott was the only one that came away with a sack in that game, but he was able to get a pick with Lawrence Timmons and was able to survive that game 33-18. 30-20 the very next week. It's a lot of controversy surrounding this game. 5 restarts is not what we're looking for in EMG. You definitely gonna have to pay a price for that at some point. And I'm thinking like week 15 will be around that time he's gonna pay a price for that. But for the most part though, he's been here and been playing most of his games. Shit happens. And we just move on. The next week, you had the Eagles, good opponent in Dave Smith. He walks away with a 19-13 win. Give me 1 second. Game tripping on me right now. And next week, big win against Rico Holloman and the Chiefs, 16-9. Very next week, close contested battle. I believe that's Brett Potter. He came away with a 3-point win, 17-14. Got off to a really good start, real hot start. 5-0, 6-0 actually, with a win over Tevin Smith. And no, that's not Tevin, Tracy Lee, 41-21. Very next week, he suffers his first loss. Big win for the Patriots, 47-42, high scoring shootout. Crazy. Let's check out some of the stats from this one, man. I'm sure it's pretty crazy here. Yeah, both teams nearly had 500 yards of total offense. It looks like an air show out here, and It looks like the air show didn't start until the second half, to be honest with you. But, you know, Patriots jump out to a 20-0 lead. He fights back, gets a furious rally, but, you know, ends up coming up short. Turnovers tell the story, man. Usually when you're on the wrong side of the turnover battle, it ends up with scores like this. You end up losing the game. So, you know, stuff happens there. Player stats, Tom Brady was near perfect. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He had a little bit of trouble stopping Tom Brady. Granted, Big Ben had the yardage and the touchdowns, but those 4 interceptions would be a killer for you, man, anytime. And he just really, you know, he still established the run. You know, Le'Veon Bell being Le'Veon Bell, maybe he would have, I'm sure if he did it over again, he probably would have doubled the number of carries for this guy, you know. That probably would have helped an awful lot. But, you know, he could still produce 10 rushes, 79 yards, and 2 TDs. Receiving wise, these guys spread the ball around pretty well. He had 200-yard receivers. Gronk looked absolutely unstoppable. That's crazy. 10 receptions, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. This looked like it would have been a fun game to watch. Not so much to play, but it looked like it would have been a pretty fun game to be a spectator of. I would have been pissed with all that offense, you know, that I seen right here. And obviously, if you're throwing for so many yards, it's going to be a point where these defenders get a chance to get at the quarterback. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, man. Just moving on to the next game here. He had his bye week, of course. He never can take L in the bye week, but he's in a serious slump right now. It looks like. I mean, this looks like a sim loss right here. So you can't really hurt him on that one, but close sim loss. You know, undefeated Cowboys came to town, and they left with a win, 30-19. Dude just put up a ridiculous amount of offensive yards on him. It just looks like he couldn't stop anything. Couldn't stop a nosebleed, man, in my Bart Scott voice. 100 yards rushing, 360 passing. Sure, 8 third down conversions. Both teams are actually really good in the red zone. And, you know, pretty even as far as the time management, but it looks like, you know, the Cowboys look like the superior team. They were able to come away with a win. Both teams really turned the ball over an awful lot. Ezekiel Elliott, you know, 100 yards there. This is the first game I've seen Le'Veon so far that I've looked at that he's had a rough one. And that's pretty rough right there. 12 rushes, 28 yards. Not what you're looking for. Dez Bryant being Dez Bryant. And Marcus Wheaton had a coming out party here. 4 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, you know, Kentrell Brothers with a big game, 2 interceptions. Wasn't enough, but Rolando McClain, Barry Church, Orlando Scandrick also contributed to their team on defense. And sack-wise, Randy Gregory was great. 2 sacks in 1 game. That's what you're looking for, you know. Cameron Haywood, Marcus Lawrence, each registered a sack, a half sack for Sean Davis and Ross Cockrell. Moving on to the next game, you know, this is the most recent one, I believe, against the Browns. The Browns have been having a rough one, but, you know, this will definitely make you smile here. They walk away with a win in this game, 23-17. You know, I've been checking out the page. That man has been talking about he's ready for next year already, and how, you know, the improvement that we're going to see from the Browns over the course of one offseason is supposed to be something to look out for. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that. But he did a good job in this game, keeping his balance. Unfortunately, the Steelers weren't able to come out on the winning end of it. It goes to overtime. That's fantastic. I wish I believe this was posted on the wall. And shout out to you boys to be streaming, man. We definitely encourage that. You know, it's not mandatory. I know some people in their connections, you know, it doesn't allow you to do so, but at the same time, you know, that shouldn't stop us from being able to share the game with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a league, have something to do, and just, you know, it always helps with the chatter in the league, and it just always helps with, you know, if you have a complaint about something somebody did rules-wise, it's always good to have that type of evidence, because, like I said, man, we're not going to rule on hearsay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just say he did this and have no proof. So that streaming always helps, you know. So just continue to do that if you know, have an opportunity to. But back to this, Crowell, you know, was big in this game. Looks like the Steelers are having a little trouble stopping the run as of late and getting the run game going. You know, you got the best back in the game really right now, and he hasn't really established himself as of yet. Still a lot of time in these boys' season though, man. They can get it really turned around. You know, they already got, what, 6 wins. You know, they're 6-4, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check it out. Yeah, 6-4 on that 4-game lose streak. You definitely got to pull that together. But, you know, big game against the Colts. This is a really hot team in the AFC. You know, getting this win can really propel you and get you started, because the schedule doesn't get much easier, you know, when you look at it. Well, it actually does get easier. After the Colts, you got the Giants, who's a pretty good team. I believe they got a winning record. I'm not too sure about the Bills. It's a new owner, but the rest of these guys' record is not as good. So, you know, you can still finish strong. You're still in position to win this division, which is the crazy part. I believe he has the best record in this division. So, just looking forward, man, he has, you know, still has an opportunity to pull it out. Let's check out some of the statistical leaders on the Steelers real quick. Yeah, don't even look at Teddy Bridgewater. That nigga the devil. Let's say. All right. So, you know, Ben is up here looking like pure trailer trash right now. No pun intended. Well, maybe that was a bad choice of words, but he looks terrible. 25 interceptions, 23 touchdowns, just inefficient as hell. If he's not throwing touchdowns, he's throwing interceptions pretty much. So there's no in between with him. You either get it, you know, got a good thing going, or you don't. Sacked 17 times on the season. Threw an 89-yard touchdown pass. That's pretty impressive. Rushing wise, you know, like I said, best back on the game, averaging 96 yards a game. You know, he's only 47 yards away, or 37 yards away from 1,000. Averaging 5.7. You know, not to coach you, bro, but it might be time to lean on that man. You know what I'm saying? And kind of take the air out the ball a little bit, because Ben ain't getting it done in the air. Receiving wise, you know, leading the team with receiving too. Best player on his team, best back in the league. Le'Veon Bell, he was leading from a reception standpoint, and of course he has the best wide receiver in the league. Probably why he throws the ball so much too. I can feel that, but you know, I think you'd be a little bit more efficient to just hand that ball off a little bit more. 5 touchdowns on the year for Antonio Brown. Pretty balanced receiver stats, though. It looks like he spreads the ball around pretty well. You know, even his third receiver has a notable amount of yards and has scored a few touchdowns this year. Blocking wise, I don't know if there's anything sexy about blocking stats, but you know, I don't think this dude starts with him. If you got a guy that's not giving up sacks like David DeCastro, that's a starter. Only give up 1 sack in 10 games. That's pretty cool. You know, Pouncey and pretty good offensive line, some notable guys on the O-line. Defense wise, he's working with Ryan Shazier, 6.5 sacks on the year. This is an outside linebacker. I'm not sure what type of defense he runs, but you know, it's pretty good amount of sacks for a guy like that. Javon Hargrave, 4 sacks on the season. Cameron Hayward with 3 sacks on the season. This is 3-4 defensive end. So I'm assuming that he's running a 4-3, because James Harrison is listed as a right end, which, you know, he's up there producing. Bud Dupree, man, you know, this is a guy that was drafted last year with a lot of Madden talent, man, speed and strength and the power moves and all that cool stuff. He's really one of the top guys, you know, for the future, I would assume, for him. Interceptions. Sean Davis, who I have no idea who he is. Strong safety with 4 interceptions. Artie Barnes with 3. Kentrell brothers with 2. He had that 2 in that 1 game. And Lawrence Timmons also with 2 interceptions. And William Gay with a pick as well. But overall, man, I mean, you know, he has a pretty good team. You know, he said he likes to pass. You can tell he likes to pass the ball, but he also likes to rush it, because, I mean, his running back has a pretty good amount of yards on the year. So, you know, just continue to get his games in. You know, he's done a pretty good job. Very active member of the league. I played in other leagues with him. He's a pretty active member as well. But best of luck to him for the rest of the season. Let's go ahead and take a look at these standings, man. It's playoff time. We getting closer. We're past the halfway mark. 10 games going. Just the standings right now, the power rankings and all the NFL at the moment. The Cowboys stand atop that list at 10-0. Anybody that's played them, feel free to chime in the comments on how you feel. Do you think it's him, or do you think it's that he hasn't played anybody? He hasn't really got at anybody that could really give him a test, really. But I'm sure his schedule heats up towards the end of the year. But 10-0 is quite the accomplishment. So shout out to Gabriel on that. Dante with the Jaguars, 9-1. Pretty good season for him, of course. He's dealing with a lot of injuries, and those guys are finding ways to win games still. So salute to that man. They holding folks to 186 points against, one of the top defensive efforts in the league. Definitely something to be proud of. Undefeated at home. Pretty good start off to the season. Third, we got Terrence Blair with the Seahawks, 9-1. They're playing great defense, 137 points surrendered on the season. It's pretty impressive. Of course, probably the hottest team in the league right now, Cinco Simmons at the helm. The Indianapolis Colts, I think these guys are, well, I can't necessarily call them the hottest team in the league because there's a team that's 10-0. But, since he's took a loss early in the season, he's kind of run off wins in pretty dominant fashion. Hasn't been a whole lot of close games in there either. So, myself with the Minnesota Vikings, we took a loss last week. Very good team, the Arizona Cardinals. Shout out to that man. He played a really good game. Was able to pull it out. We made a lot of mistakes in the red zone, turnovers, and it really ended up costing us the game. But shout out to that man. I think it's Chris Butler who has the Cardinals. Really good effort from him. Ran the ball really well, which we haven't really gave up an awful lot of rush yards in the last few games. Well, really all season. And he had an awesome game plan, stuff to it, and ended up getting the win. The Patriots are 7-3. This man is really established himself in this league, man. Still using Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he's having a pretty big season right now. 7-3. The Giants at 7-3. We got a lot of teams in the middle. That 7-3 kind of spot. Buccaneers, the Broncos, the Raiders, who really kind of charged back a bit. They're on a losing streak at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he won a game last week. I want to say he lost 3 of his last 4. And I could take a look at that, but I think something like that. But, there's enough talent on that team that they can bounce back, and end up, in the playoffs or even further than that. The Steelers, we just went over them, 6-4, still running things in their division, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think anybody in their division is up higher than them. Cardinals, of course, we just spoke about them, those guys, in a very competitive NFC West with the Seahawks. Yeah, just a lot of, then we kind of look towards the getting ready for next year crowd. The Falcons are looking poised to have the #1 pick, but, are these guys tanking, or are they going to put up a fight and try to at least get one victory? We'll see. But let's just take a look at some of the division races real quick. So, as I said, the AFC North, really, him losing is not a big deal because, in a few games, this division could end up being wrapped up. This is 6-4. Next closest guy is 3-7, which is the Bengals. The Browns got a big win on them. So really, to be honest with you, the Browns, the Bengals, these guys still have a shot at the playoffs if the Steelers wet the bed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They'd have to lose 3 or 4 games. Now, I don't think he will, but it's something to keep an eye on, man. You know what I'm saying? The Ravens pulling up the rear here. Just, trying to get better by each game. But just a tip, man, just for some of you guys who feel like your season is done, it's not necessarily time to tank. You can put a lot of your young players in the game and get XP with them. If you got a rookie that you weren't planning on starting until next year or something like that, you can put that man in the game, and next thing you know, he's earned X amount of XP or whatever, and he's ready to go for next season. That way you build depth, and it seems like depth is a big deal this year. Because of injuries and how dudes get hurt left and right on here. AFC South, what a race, man. Probably the most talented division in football. 4 owners who have accomplished a lot in EMG. If I'm not mistaken, the Titans last year he played in the Super Bowl. The Jaguars guy, he won 2 Super Bowls. The Colts, I believe he was the Steelers last year, and he was constantly in the playoffs. That had done a lot of damage, won a lot of games. So this is one to keep an eye on, man. Right now, the Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken, lost 1 game, and I don't believe it, and it was in the division. So they beating up on each other. The Titans end up pulling that win, if I'm not mistaken. That's the lowest rated team in the division at the moment, and they were able to beat the top team in the division at the time. So, it's a big deal. Both really good record, but I think this Colts-Jaguars kind of tilt is where it's at. I think that's where you're going to probably see the division winner come out of, unless both of these teams have a severe meltdown and Houston can creep up there. But for the most part, I believe these boys got a game towards the end of the season. I'm sure that'll be MG Game of the Year rather than just a week, because it's going to be a lot riding on it. But definitely looking forward to seeing that. AFC East, pretty close contest here. Well, 3 ways, actually. I mean, the Dolphins look poised. There's still a chance for them. They just got to keep winning and just hope some chips fall in there, some things go their way. Jets, right in front of them, 6-4, and then right on the heels of the Patriots at 7-3. So, this is a very competitive division. Looking forward to seeing, what's going down with that. And shout out to the Bills. The new owner kind of came and his team had took some losses because of some, we didn't really get those games played in with the last owner. But, it is what it is, and I appreciate him coming in, definitely trying to get as many games in as he can and just handling the situation pretty well, getting his team ready for next year, I guess. AFC West, Broncos and Raiders. That's where it's at right now, As I look at those 2 guys, pretty evenly matched team from a talent standpoint, led by Von Miller, led by Khalil Mack. You got a lot of talent on the Raiders: Amari Cooper, Derek Carr. Same on the Broncos. If I'm not mistaken, I think he still has Demaryius Thomas, but I know he doesn't have Paxton Lynch anymore. He has actually Colin Kaepernick. Word to Colin Kaepernick, taking these at the anthem, That guy is really kind of leading the way there. Chargers, 4-6. I'm shocked by that. Jay, I've been playing Madden with for some years, and that dude's pretty good. But he's pulling up at 4-6. I'm shocked by it. Still a chance for him to really get on the roll and just see what happens. So this should get really interesting. And the Chiefs have dealt with a ridiculous amount of injuries throughout the season. Next year should be a lot of talent on that team. If I'm not mistaken, he got Shady McCoy and he has Jamal Charles on the same team. One of them's hurt, but I mean, you thinking of that, you roll that out there next year with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, and Macklin will be back, and Kelsey and all those guys, should be ready to go, man. His offense should be much improved, but it's just about getting the reps with that guy, man, and just being able to play all the games and getting in there and getting wins. But a lot of promise and talent on that team. NFC North, the Vikings and Lions, they play this week. Myself and Chris Porter. Big game. If we win this game, we probably end up sealing up the division pretty much and be ready to go as far as getting ready for the playoffs. We can really start talking playoffs in Minnesota at that point. 7-3, Lions 6-4. The Packers. He had a rough start to the season, but 4-6 is it's not a winning record, but a couple wins here, a couple wins there. He can probably end up with 10 wins, 9-10 wins on the season. The Bears at 3-7, they're kind of bringing up the rear. Still a lot of talent on that team. Just looking, I don't know if they've packed it in for the year, but we'll just have to see with those guys. The NFC South, Buccaneers with a commanding lead, got a 2-game lead on the division. Big games coming up. The Panthers have really bounced back. They started off losing some games, but it looks like they had a big win over the Raiders last night to bring their record to 6-5. So, he's still fighting. The Saints, who that? My real life team. Shout out to Ronald Miller. New Orleans native taking the Saints and trying to bring in the respectability. That roster is kind of tough defensively to really stop people, man. Like, cause that defensive roster is terrible. I'm just keeping it real, like in the front seven. But you know, it's mostly bad because the linebackers aren't that great. But a lot of young talent on the D line. Kikaha, Cam Jordan, Sheldon Rankins. You got Nick Fairley in there who can help out a bit. But 5-6, you know, and that man took a few sim losses. So definitely hats off to him. And just keep pushing towards the end of the season, man. I'm interested to see Kenny, you know, run the table and get to 10 wins with these boys, because, you know, that might give you an opportunity late in the season. You still got 2 games against the Buccaneers late in the season. You win both of those games, you know, and just hope he stubs his toe somewhere. You know, you never know what can happen. So, you know, this division rate worth keeping your eyes on. NFC East, Cowboys. It's all Cowboys right here. But the Giants are definitely putting up a fight. 7-3. Those guys are poised to make some noise here. 7-3 Giants. 3-7 Eagles. 2-8 Redskins. The Redskins got 2 victories. One was against me, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't get to play that game, but he got the win though. You got the Eagles 3-7, of course, and of course, like I said, the Giants 7-3. Pretty competitive division at the top, but the Cowboys have just been flawless this year. You know, the Giants look like a threat, but they literally been flawless, and they already got a victory over the Giants. So I think it's probably safe to say within the next 2-3 weeks or so, Cowboys got a chance to kind of wrap this division up. You know, you get to 13 wins, and you probably say that they're going to probably win the division. So, you know, it's important that the Giants keep it close, and he doesn't stub his toe on the way to his next game with them. I'm not sure if they played twice already, but just got to hope some stuff works out for him, and he can probably walk away with that division. NFC West, lastly but not least, of course, the Seahawks at 9-1, pretty dominant stretch. For those guys, just one loss here, of course. They're playing great defense, 137 points against the Cardinals, 6-4. You know, that man had a really good game. I just played him. He had a really, really good game as far as just stuff happening for him, man. Like, just Larry Fitzgerald just straight outrun my corner, who was faster than him, which I didn't really understand. But, you know, and then I think he had 2 touchdowns in the game, and the running back, the David Johnson guy, just breaking every tackle from pretty much anybody on my defense, which was some complete bullshit. But hey, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for the most part, that's what the playoff races look like so far. NFC, if the playoffs started today, the 1 seed would be the Dallas Cowboys, and we got the number 2 seed, which would be the Seattle Seahawks. Both of those guys looking at bye weeks, staring down at bye weeks. That's probably how it's going to end, to be honest with you, because I don't really see Seattle losing 2 more games and anybody being able to creep up and get that spot from them. Vikings would be number 3 and probably would have to be matched up with those same Cardinals, which would be great. That would be fantastic. The Giants and the Buccaneers look like that's if the playoffs were to start today, how it looks. The AFC, right now, number 1 seed looks to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts, they would actually be the number 3 seed by virtue of you didn't win the division, so you're not going to get a bye. So it would be the Jaguars, and the Patriots actually would be the number 2 seed. The number 3 seed would actually be the Denver Broncos, and the number 4 seed would be the Steelers. The number 5 would actually be the Colts, and the number 6 would be the Raiders. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but you just got to look at it and understand how the NFL, tiebreaker and all the other, playoff seeding rules, I guess, kind of work out. But, still should be pretty competitive. A lot of teams still in the hunt. Texans, Jets, still in the hunt. Dolphins still in the hunt. It could even be said that maybe even the Chargers are still in the hunt with 6 losses, but they would have to be perfect towards the end of this season, man. So it's a really, really competitive AFC race in the playoffs. And just looking at this, you got a lot in the NFC. You got a lot of teams that are kind of still in the hunt as well. You can say the Lions. You can say the Panthers for sure. The Rams might even have a chance. Rams, Packers, Saints. All those teams, 6 losses or below, you're probably still in the hunt somewhat. So it should be a real interesting last 6 or so weeks of the season. Just monitoring that. And of course, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these awards, man. See what we got cracking over here. See who's where we need to be as far as MVP and, you know, Offensive Player of the Year. Let's check out the weekly awards from last week. The last ones that we had, Ezekiel Elliott with a huge game, 25 carries, 135 yards, 5.5 yards a carry, almost 2 touchdowns, catching the ball, 5 receptions, 91 yards, and another touchdown. And so 3 total touchdowns, over 200 yards in total offense. And, you know, this guy was really, he touched the ball almost 30 times last week. Just absolute volume from the guy and just absolute great production from him. Sam Shields, huge game, 4 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Alden Smith had a monster game, 3 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and he put 1 in the end zone. Crazy. And Blake Bortles, I didn't even know he was back. That's great. I thought he was still hurt or whatever. I knew he was hurt last week. But yeah, 20 for 29, 371 passing, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 1 sack. Carried the ball 5 times. He actually had a rushing TD and a fumble, but he had a few turnovers there. But overall, you score 4 touchdowns. We'll overlook the fumble and the interception. As far as the yearly awards, just checking those out. Latavius Murray still leading the way in the MVP voting. Really on his heels, though, is Jordan Todman of the 8-2 Colts, just leading the way there. David Johnson, I told you, man, I played that man last week, and it was some absolute bullshit. Like, just niggas bouncing off of him. J.J. Watt bouncing off of him. Like, just dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? But definitely he's balling. You know what I'm saying? Le'Veon Bell, 6-4, Steelers. He's still there. Obviously, high volume of production from him, too. Tom Brady on the list, like every year. Thomas Rawls. Adrian Peterson at 7-3. I haven't been too happy with his production this year. That's the crazy part. He's still on the list, so you know, hopefully we get a little bit better on running the ball. We haven't been as consistent as I felt we needed to be. The Giants are 7-3. Michael Bennett and not the Giants. Eli Manning of the 7-3 Giants on the list. Michael Bennett, a defensive end on the MVPs. I gotta really check that man's stats. He got to have something like 15 sacks by now, if that's the case. And Andrew Luck, of course, leading the way for the Colts. So the Colts actually got 2 guys. And the Seahawks have 2 guys on the list. So a lot of work being done out on that side of town. Coach of the Year, of course. Yeah, this guy, 10-0. Really hard to argue with that. Marshawn Lynch and Young Dolph kind of pulling up the rear there, like, you know, right on his heels. So as soon as he takes a loss, who knows what can happen there. You know, definitely, I don't know if anybody knows where Tevis Smith is. I'm going to actually tag him in this post. You need to create a coach, my dude. Like, that's not what's up. I think we put that out there when the league started, that everybody should be playing with creative coaches. That's not a creative coach. That's actually the real life coach of the New York Giants. So let's get that together, my dude. You know what I'm saying? RJ Green going up there, Alfredo Brady, you know, Preacher Hendricks, Boss Hogg, I see you, man. Herm Edwards and Terrence Mitchell at number 10. Just looking at some of the AFC. Latavius Murray, of course, Offensive Player of the Year, leading MVP. Of course, is going to be there with that as well. Jordan Todman at 2. 3 is Le'Veon Bell. Tom Brady, Chris Ivory. That's interesting. Chris Ivory on the Offensive Player of the Year joint, man. That's all right. You got Giovanni Bernard, Blake Bortles, Andrew Luck, Rob Gronkowski, and of course Corey Coleman, who's having a really good rookie season. Defensive Player of the Year. This guy is just a ball hawk, flat out. You know, I don't know how many. I'm sure he has double-digit interceptions by now. And you got Sean Smith at number 2, Rob Nikovich, Jonathan Cyprian, Prince Amukamara, Telvin Smith, excuse me, DeMarcus Ware, Sean Davis, TJ Green, and of course Derek Wolfe at number 10. Rookie of the Year. Yeah, as I was saying, this dude's having a monster season. It's crazy. Corey Coleman has really come on for the Colts and really established himself as the #1 receiver in the league. Not #1 overall receiver, just #1 receiver as far as on his team, the #1 receiver. I think this guy's a running back, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, D. Davidson taking well below average running backs and trying to produce with them. You know, we had this, he did the same thing kind of last year, with taking a lot of lesser talented guys and trying to make it work. You also got Will Fuller, third in the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jordan Payton, another 61 overall dude that this guy's finding a way to make plays with. I don't understand it. Cody Kessler, the starter there in Cleveland. Kobe Listenby, Wendell Smallwood. A lot of these guys I've never heard of. Marquez North, Derrick Henry, of course, you know who he is, and Paxton Lynch coming in at 10th. He actually does still have Paxton Lynch. I thought he traded it. Excuse me. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Joey Bosa coming in behind Sean Davis. Dude looks poised to take it home. Aaron Wallace, another, D. Davidson kid. It's just a trip to see these dudes be 63, 61 overall and be mentioned for any type of award. So I don't know, I'll just be wilding out off of that. T.J. Green, big time player in Indianapolis, one of the leaders on that defense, even as a rookie. Artie Burns, LaShawn Sims, Cyrus Jones of the New England Patriots, Jalen Ramsey, Kevin Dodd, and Miles Jack. So this man has 2 rookies on him, Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey, who are just blue chippers. You know what I'm saying? This dude's going to be ready to go by playoff time. So, best quarterback, we're just going over the top. Let's say the top 3 on here. You got Andrew Luck, Derek Carr, and Tom Brady leading the way. Latavius Murray, Jordan Tillman, and Le'Veon Bell, and Corey Coleman, Amari Cooper, and James Jones. That's a shocker to me. James Jones is like 92 years old, and I'm sure he's nowhere close to 80 speed probably. So it's crazy how he's making it work for that guy. We also got Joe Thomas on the top of the best O-line. Trent Williams, big trade. I mean, huge trade to get that guy on his team that really solidified his offensive line. And Andrew Whitworth comes in third. D-line wise, we got Jadeveon Clowney. He's having a monster season. DeMarcus Ware, and Derek Wolfe is having a breakout year as well. Linebacker wise, Rob Ninkovich at the top of the list. Wendy Merciless, number 2, and Telvin Smith with all that speed and athleticism and just playmaking ability at the linebacker spot coming in at number 3. Defensive back wise, of course, the ball hawk, Lonnie Ballantyne, the top safety in the game right now. Sean Smith and Jonathan Cyprien comes in number 3. Kickers, who gives a shit? I'm just moving past those. So we go over to the NFC side, and we got Offensive Player of the Year, David Johnson leading the way. I'm telling you, if you haven't played this nigga and this fucking David Johnson, I was so mad. I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude had motherfuckers just bouncing off of him left and right. Todd Gurley, the machine. I had the guy last year, and I know what he can do. He's incredible. The Seahawks, of course, coming in number 3 with Thomas Rawls. Defensive Player of the Year, Rolando McCain having a big season, followed by Michael Bennett and DeMarcus Lawrence. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ezekiel, looks like he's going to run away with that. And Keith Marshall coming in at number 2, Jeff Driscoll at number 3, which is really shocking. I mean, shout out to Larry Waldman. Said he told me at the beginning of the season he was going to start the Louisiana Tech guy and see what he could do with him, to start the local kid, and he's really established himself. I mean, number 3 in the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe he has something at quarterback. I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully we can get maybe a Larry Waldman or somebody on the show, man. We go over some of you guys' team. Feel free to hit me up if you're trying to rock with us on the podcast here, man. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Robert Nkemdiche had a really big game against me as well. I can talk a lot about that. I just played him. He had an outstanding game. Deion Jones of LSU fame, Definitely got love for my Tigers, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's having a big year, helping that team towards their undefeated season. Anthony Brown at number 3. I don't even have an idea who that is. Eli Manning looked like the best quarterback in the NFC right now, followed by Cam Newton. And I don't understand or know why Teddy Bridgewater is number 3, because that dude is pissing me off every day. Every game I get mad at Teddy Bridgewater for some dumb shit. Best running back, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, and of course the stalwart, one of the greatest of all time, Adrian Peterson, number 3. Wide receiver, Des Bryant, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham. It just doesn't get more plain and simple than that. 3 of the best wideouts in real life football, or 3 of the best wideouts in Madden football. So definitely impressed with those guys and the season they've put together. Tyron Smith leading the way, best O-line, followed by his teammate Travis Frederick. And then lastly, Lane Johnson, formerly of the Eagles, who joined the Seahawks mid-season to help solidify that O-line. We got best D-line, Michael Bennett. I'm going to check his stats because I just don't understand. Like, this dude's on the top 10 for the MVP and everything. I'm wondering what he got going on out there. Robert Nkemdiche and William Hayes, shockingly. Not even the best lineman on his team, but he's the 3rd best lineman in the NFC this year. Linebacker-wise, Rolando McClain, Ryan Kerrigan, and Deion Jones, who's having a huge season. Defensive back, Janoris Jenkins, Sam Shields, Earl Thomas in the top 3. And, of course, we don't show love to kickers. But, yeah, man, that's, as far as the awards and everything, we've done a pretty good job of, getting some young guys on the list. So that's always cool to see. Guys like Deion Jones and DeMarcus Lawrence, who are up on the list and past some of these veterans. So it's very impressive. Let's go ahead and take a look, see what else here we can take a gander at real quick before we close it out today, man. But just reiterating, how we need to do a better job of scheduling our games and getting everything together. I just want to take a look at the injury report, man, and just see who's dealing with the most injury. Like, this is a huge injury for me. I can't even front. Stefan Diggs is one of the catalysts in my offense, man. Fastest receiver, best receiver overall. Treadwell has actually had a pretty good season, but I definitely would love. We can't wait to get him back in about 3 weeks here. Just looking at the Bears, big player in Lamar Houston going down. He'll be back next week. Kadeem Carey. The Bengals, Shaq Petaway. Don't even know what that is, but I mean, if that's the only guy you got injured, then you're doing pretty well. The Bills, Tyler Bray, quarterback, broken toe. I'm not sure if he was playing him or not. I don't know how he had to be playing him if he got hurt, I guess. But he doesn't have Tyrod anymore, so okay, he might have been playing Tyler Bray. Broncos, Shane Ray. That's a big loss. This is a dude you can put in several different places on your defense, and it's tough to be without him. The Browns, Kenton Adeyemi. Don't know who that is, but he's hurt right now. Chris Ivory, who was I think he was on like a top running back list or something like that. So obviously it was a big loss for him. Michael I guess. I'll just move past him. I don't even know who that is. Chargers, Manti Te'o, dislocated ankle. Hey, this dude is like on some other shit, man. Like, this dude is like a forgotten player in the National Football League. Like, I thought coming out of Notre Dame, bro, like he had a lot of hype, and he's really like a nobody in the NFL. This is really crazy. But I guess that's how it is, man. The upgrade, and it's hard to be a star when you're surrounded by stars, I guess. So we got the Chiefs, who probably have dealt with the most injuries in EMG, probably without a doubt. And they've gotten some guys back, but the level of motherfuckers that they're missing right now, like Travis Kelce, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of the better tight ends on the game. He'll be back in a week. Steven Nelson, I'm not sure who he is, but that's a suitable cornerback. I mean, he's a 72 overall. Pretty good speed, 90 speed, man coverage, 75, 80 zone coverage. This is a pretty good corner, and he's young, so he'd probably be even better. But, unfortunately, he's missed a few games and kind of stunted his production. Not production, but his progression, excuse me. Brandon Williams, another tight end out. This has got to hurt right here. This is one of the heart and souls of your defense with Derek Johnson. 88 overall linebacker who's still doing it in his 30s. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta wonder, is his next year, is his speed gonna drop to where he's not as usable anymore? So you know what I'm saying? So we gotta kind of keep an eye on that. That kind of sucks. Well, this is stupid. This man's best corner on the bench for 4 weeks with a shoulder tear. They don't be fucking around with them shoulder tears, man. Like, that is like the most prominent injury in here. The Cowboys, we got Byron Jones hurt, big-time player at free safety, and Rico Gathers. Actually, that's a Louisiana kid, went to Baylor. He actually was a basketball player at Baylor. He was one of the best basketball players in high school in Louisiana, and he played high school football in Louisiana. But, you know, everybody was telling him that basketball was really going to be the way. But the crazy part is this man is in the NFL now, and he hadn't played a lick of football since he was in high school. So it's crazy. I'm sure his attributes are pretty good. Pretty good speed, I guess. 79 overall for a 290 pounds, 6'8", 290 pound tight end. So you develop this guy, how good could he really be? You know what I'm saying? Run block is only 58. So I mean, he needs some work, and it really doesn't help that he has slow development and he's hurt, so he can't really help his development get better. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of potential there. There's really a guy to have at the bottom of your roster and kind of, juice him up a little bit. He can end up being really good. The Dolphins, good God. Now, I said that the Chiefs had the most injury issues. I might have been lying. This man has a dude that is out 34 weeks. Like, I guess that's a career-ending injury. That's some dumb shit. A groin tear. That's crazy. Kiko Alonso, best player one of the better players on his defense. 77 overall. He's hurt. His backup running back is hurt. His starting running back is hurt. Juice is hurt. Jelani Jenkins hurt. Like, these are starters that are on this man's bench right now. Starters and reserves. So he's been kind of catching it real heavy on the injuries this year. Ryan Matthews, big loss. Left tackle, of course. Jason Peters, big loss for the Eagles. Falcons, Camille Ishmael, and Matt Ryan. Man, it's quarterback. That has to suck. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I don't understand this, though. Maybe he's coming back this week. It says uninjured. So, yeah, he'll be back this week, I guess. Put it down as Quinton Patton. It's not an awful lot of offensive talent on that team, so if you lose anything, it's going to hurt you. So, yeah, that's kind of rough for him to lose one of his best receivers. Will Tye for the Giants. And the Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie as well, out for these guys. Jaguars, like I said, they've been dealing with some shit, man. That's their whole offense right here. Alan Hearns, that nigga ugly. Jeez. Julius Thomas, Tashawn Gibson. I'm not sure if he starts him, but I know he's a starter in real life. And of course, his best receiver, one of the best receivers in football, and Allen Robinson. Both out, but this team will, they'll get some life back into this offense next week, because this is two major pieces that are going to be coming back. So, look forward to seeing those guys back on the field and seeing what they can do. The Jets, Steve Milner, Darren Lee, both hurt here. The Lions, without their best receiver, without Will Hill, the third, yeah, that's a whole nother story. So that dude's probably going to be in somebody's free agent list next year. That was a little, like, this motherfucker hurt forever. It seems like it's crazy. The Packers, Raheem Mostert. I think he was using that. I think when I played him, this guy actually played. So that's rough to lose the dude. Yeah, 92 speed at running back. Like, he definitely got some playing time. Trey Boston. It seems like nobody escapes the injury bug on this game this year. I'm telling you, man, motherfuckers get hurt. And I guess it's realistic, because that's what happens in the NFL, man. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo just got hurt the other day. J.J. Watt started the season hurt. The Saints in real life, we've had so many motherfuckers hurt. I thought we had a nigga about to die on the field last week in P.J. Williams after he had suffered a concussion. So, I mean, it's really an awful lot of injuries in real life. There's an awful lot of injuries on the game. I think it's more realistic. You're not seeing as many guys out for the season, though, like as on years past. Like, usually when your guy gets hurt, it was for a ridiculous amount of weeks. Now, granted, I've seen 2 people on here 30, 40 weeks, but I think Will Hill shit was like pre-existing or something like that. But you know, you see these type of guys get hurt like every week. It's like a star is out. Like, we've had a guy that was supposed to be starting linebacker for us in real life who hasn't played a game yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a lot of real life injuries too. So yeah, it is what it is on that. All right, let's take a. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the Raiders have lost to T.J. Carey, Malcolm Smith, Johnny Halton. The Rams, the only team that's not dealing with no real injuries, and the Ravens losing Ladarius Webb definitely is a hurter for them. Matt Jones out right for these guys. Bashard Breeland, who was Antonio Brown's punching bag in real life in week 1. Keith Marshall, who was on a list. This man's lost both running backs that he has pretty much. And Philip Dorsett, probably the fastest receiver on the game, has been injured as well. Saints-wise, lots of injuries. So, you know, man, I might have bit my tongue a little bit. Like, I might have stubbed my toe a little bit by saying the Chiefs had the most injuries, because I'm seeing some shit here, bro. Like, Brandon Coleman, the guy showed who plays, his best receiver in Brandon Cooks, period. You know what I'm saying? Brandon Cooks cannot be guarded on this game. Drew Brees, I mean, that just says the name itself. He's out. Von Bell, his rookie free safety, and the starter is free safety, and Jarvis Byrd out, his starting middle linebacker. So it's really, man, that man putting that team together with glue and popsicle sticks. Like, he's really trying to hold it down, you know, while these dudes try to come back from injuries. Thomas Rawls, one of the best safeties in the game. Earl Thomas out. Jermaine Kearse, the Steelers missing the best receiver in football. That's definitely got to hurt. Texans missing Lamar Miller, their starting running back, and the Titans came away with no injuries there as well. So I mean, this game has this year has really put a premium on putting points on injury and toughness. So that's just another tip for you guys. Like, really focus on that, and you know what I'm saying, and try to find a way to make sure that this you can keep your guys on the field, and just build, you know, and also build depth around them as well. That'll help. All right, well, you know, pretty good show, man. Obviously, leave comments if you guys want to say anything. Continue the discussion on the page. If you ever want to be a part of the podcast, I mean, I'm always open to doing that. We just find us a time where we can link up in one of the parties and we can, you know, talk some football. And lastly, man, I said I was going to pick some games for the real NFL season. This is week 3, so let's take a look back at week 3 in the league, and I can see what I think here. So, we got the game tonight, Thursday Night Football. No Jimmy Garoppolo. I think them boys are about to start a rookie quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett, who really wasn't that good at North Carolina State anyway. I think Art is going to kind of imitate life, and I think Houston is going to pull out a win against New England just like they did in the league. I think it should be a pretty dominant win by the Texans if they really want to establish themselves in real life as a Super Bowl contender. You got to get this win. You can't go up there and lay an egg in Foxborough when these dudes are without Tom Brady and without his backup, down to their third-string quarterback who's never played in the NFL before. You can't go up there and lose that game. You got to light these boys up. The Cardinals and Bills, I think the Cardinals kind of bounced back from losing to the Patriots in week 1, put it on the Buccaneers, and the Bills are close to the same team to me. So, you know what I'm saying? Both got pretty young quarterbacks and, underachieve a little bit on defense. So I'll probably say the Cardinals pull out that win. The Raiders and Tennessee Titans. Titans had a big win last week. So, I mean, this game, the Raiders are just peculiar to really figure out. My personal opinion, my team played the Raiders week 1. We were beating them 24-13, heading into the fourth quarter, and our best cornerback goes down. A rookie comes in to replace him, and Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree literally just pick on this rookie for a whole fourth quarter, and they score 22 unanswered points. Well, not unanswered, but they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter to pull out a 1-point win. I don't think the Raiders are as good as I thought, you know what I'm saying, as that performance showed they were. I think the Titans are more trending up. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Titans in real life on this one, man. I think they're going to end up pulling out that win at home, and they'll move up to 2-1. The Redskins and Giants. The Giants are another team my team played. We held these boys to without a touchdown. They got a touchdown on a kickoff, but Odell hasn't really been, he hasn't really come alive yet. Josh Norman covering him, big game. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pregame shit going on between him and them dudes, man. And I think Odell will come out and really establish himself. And those guys are going to make up for a rough offensive performance against a bad defense last week. And they'll pull out a close game win. And Washington, unfortunately for them, fall to 0-3. The Browns and the Dolphins. The Browns put up a fight last week. Both teams 0-2. They jumped ahead of the Ravens and then came back and ended up losing that game. So I'm gonna probably say, it's a tough one. Both of these teams are pretty on the downtrend. But I'm gonna go ahead and say the Browns, man. I guess I'll say I'll take Hugh Jackson over Adam Gase. The Ravens and the Jaguars. I'm gonna go ahead and the Ravens. They stay undefeated. They get the win here. Going into that game, I think Jacksonville's still like a year or two away from really being what everybody thinks they are. The Lions and the Packers. I think the Packers bounce back after a rough loss, a division loss last week to the Minnesota Vikings. Also, we got the Broncos and Bengals. I think this should be an entertaining game. Broncos are 2-0. The Bengals are 1-1. I think the Bengals find a way to get this win, man. I think, granted the Broncos defense is loaded. Granted the Broncos find a way to win ugly games. They've won ugly games this season, I guess, And I actually think Trevor Siemian's played pretty well, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think Cincinnati will find a way to manufacture points. I think A.J. Green will find a way to put up some numbers. And, before you know it, I think they'll end up pulling out that win, a close win at home. The Vikings and Panthers. Adrian Peterson getting hurt really hurts this team. Sam Bradford looked good, but I just don't think in Carolina that they can pull that off. I want them to, being that Carolina's in my division. I just don't think they'll end up pulling it off. So I'm gonna say Carolina pretty solid win. I'm gonna say 20-13. 20-13. The Rams and the Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers on this one. I think the Bucs bounce back. If I'm not mistaken, this is their home opener. So they played on the road in Atlanta. They played on the road in Arizona last week. And their first home game. The Rams aren't very good on offense. They won't have to put up a lot of points. They just need to find a way to score like 17 points and they'll be okay. The 49ers and Seahawks. This should be a bloodbath. But, the Seahawks offense hasn't played well, so I guess not a bloodbath. I mean, they were held to like 3 points or something like that last week. So, I don't know. Maybe, but that is in Seattle. And they have been successful in Seattle versus that team. They're undefeated at home. They found a way to win at home, so we'll have to see. Maybe this is the game that sparks everything. I'm going to pick Seahawks in this one. Chiefs and Jets. Let's go Jets. I think I'm going to go Jets on this. You got the Chargers and the Colts. The Colts are kind of... It's falling apart up there, man. I think Pagano's going to fuck around and get fired. Like, you know what I'm saying? These boys 0-2. They should have beaten the Lions. And then they go on the road to Denver and don't do much of anything. And I'm going to just go ahead out on the limb and say they get on the right track and Art kind of imitates life on this one. They beat the Chargers pretty handily. Steelers and Eagles. Steelers. Should be a good game. Sneaky good game. Really, really sneaky good game. You know what I'm saying? Pennsylvania, both teams, Pennsylvania teams. Should be a pretty good game because the Eagles have really impressed me, man. That rookie Carson Wentz, I thought he was going to be good because he was good in college. He was really, really good in college. And, he played for a really good program in college, North Dakota State. Matter of fact, I think them boys had just upset somebody. I want to say it was Iowa or something like that last weekend or something. So, man, really, really think that'll be a really sneaky good game, man. So keep an eye out for that one. The Bears and the Cowboys. Cowboys should win this game. And I think this will be the game where Dak finally gets his first passing touchdown. I don't think he threw for a touchdown yet. This could be his coming out party. Just another on that situation. Y'all know Tony Romo's done, right? Like, there's no way this dude's getting back in the game, especially if this young boy continues to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll save Dallas an awful lot of money, and I think they might cut him at the end of the season and invest a lot of money in the defense and really become a much better football team for it. So, I mean, you know, and I think Romo's a good quarterback. I think somebody like Denver could really go in and swoop him next year and be a Super Bowl contender, like next year. You know what I'm saying? And we'll still have Paxton Lynch and still be able to grow with him. So, I mean, he's going to be out on the market next year, but I can't see the rationale in taking him out and putting Tony Romo back in there if they're winning by the time Tony Romo is healthy. As a matter of fact, I don't even know that Tony Romo's injury is as bad as they're trying to say it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really believe that they just want to start that young dude, and they just want to start a whole new kind of momentum on that team. Lastly, of course, my boys. Yeah. I think Art will imitate life on this. I think we're going to smack the Falcons. Why? Because it's the 10th anniversary of the Dome reopening. Those are the type of games we just don't lose. And for whatever reason, the NFL always sets the Falcons up for that, which I'm completely fine with. Like, beat these dudes' ass. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, I think we're going to beat the snot out of these dudes. Like, and I'll be very disappointed if we don't and end up falling to 0-3 because of it. All right. Well, fellas, appreciate your time, man. This is a little longer than I thought. Shout out to, you know, some flooding out here. The schools were closed, so I'm actually off today. So, you know what I'm saying? So if you heard some noise in the background, it was my kids. But anyway, we got everything squared away here, man. Let's continue to try to get these games in. Appreciate you guys' time, man, and best of luck for the rest of the season.